Hey guys, this is Nique and Ress, and this is She Wolf After Me. Today's title is You Got Your Version, I Got Mine, but God got the footage.
Yeah. So today we're talking about when I think he's the bad guy, he thinks I'm the bad guy, when you break up and everybody is the villain. So, like, have you ever broken up with somebody and thought to yourself, like, yeah, I wasn't perfect, but like, they were the problem. And then you realize they are saying the same thing about you. And now y'all both sitting there in y'all separate group chats telling two completely different stories because that is what we're going to talk about today. What happens when nobody's the good guy and the relationship still haunts you anyway? So, have you ever, I know you have you ever, let's pretend I don't know you. Let's pretend I don't know you out here being a menace to men. Have you ever, have you ever had a relationship or ending a situation, something where it ends in like both of y'all are like, nah, you are my villain origin story?
Mm, yeah, I don't be feeling like I'm the villain half the time, even if I
Yeah.
could be. But even in the most craziest relationship I've been in, which you already know about,
Mm-hmm.
he was saying I was a villain in some of that too.
I
You know?
know. That's the main one I was thinking of.
Yeah, it's
There's
like,
two others. There's two others, but that's the main one I was thinking of.
what you talking about? Okay, okay.
It's not about if
Right.
you are the villain. It's about do they think you're the villain?
Yeah, I guess, but I
Yeah.
think I can take account. But the thing is,
Hmm.
I reflect that I can take accountability now. It's in every situation, I guess.
Yeah.
But the main one that I felt like he was the villain. It was like I was the villain because you was the villain, and I was just trying to be like you. Like that's what it is.
You
Like
was on
it's
some
like
hate twin.
yes, we matching because it's just like no. He put me into my. I feel like he put me into my villain era, and I mean that's not in ways. That's how I was feeling at that time. Like he made me into this person. This is not really me.
Yeah.
But reflecting, I could see how I could have changed or did some different things. But for sure, we
Yeah.
both was villains. You can't say neither one of us wasn't.
Yeah.
But I always was like, it's because you
Yeah.
started the era, and I was like, I'm gonna finish. But
Thank you for that
I'll be there.
accountability.
I've grown. So, what about you?
Yeah, you know that's the thing. There's times that I straight up was the villain. Like I could straight up be like, yeah, no, they're right. They're right. I was in the wrong.
Uh,
But I definitely have one where I think they think I'm the villain just because of the way they act afterwards. I'm just like, you acting like I broke your heart. You
mhm.
broke my heart. Like, why? Why are you acting like I'm the bad guy? Like you the one who did the stuff. And kind of like you actually, kind of like you actually. The way I feel is like, first of all, the thing I did was a reaction. I didn't think
So
you did.
you're
Don't be mad because I have better reactions. Like I warned you. They're like, hey, if we stay nice, I'm great. You make me go back into my villain era. Like I'm a very different person. And they didn't believe that. So there's one particularly comes to mind where it's like, oh yeah, no, we both have very different versions of like what happened there.
Mhm.
And I think like now as I've grown, now as a woman in her 30s, I can definitely accept like we both share blame. Both of us caused pain. Both of us was being immature. And regardless of like who started it, who finished it, um, it can be a mutual villain origin story, to be honest.
Mhm.
It can be a mutual villain origin story. And I think sometimes what makes it really hard in these type of situations is that it can feel like by acknowledging their pain, it feels like you're canceling out yours. And especially when it's somebody that like they give you a type of hurt that like changed the way you approach relationships.
Yeah.
Um, I know for me, I have had a person, there's one particular person like that situation broke me. Like that situation hurt me in a way where I never looked at relationships the same again. Even after healing, there's certain things that are like still of like I still have to work through because of him. And I think when I had to go through a period where I did have to acknowledge, like, yeah, you gotta do this. And, you not do this. And it was like I would get so mad because I'm like, yeah, but he did this. He changed the way my brain functions. And it was like hard for me to accept it for a while because I felt like, but my pain's bigger. My pain's worse.
Yeah. I feel like I would have to agree with that for the guy that did. I felt he was a villain, so I became one. Because not only did he hurt me, but it changed my personality.
Mm,
Um, it changed my personality a lot, and it's just like I had to learn how to fix that. Like
yeah.
it made me like a hard person, like a hard, rugged person, and I didn't know how to be soft for a while. It took a while to accept softness from men, or if a man do one thing, I'm I was so horrible. I
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm so horrible. Like it was way out my character. Like I never called men out their name, but after I went through that,
Yeah.
it was just like a whole different situation. So I had to like relearn how to be myself after that. So I'm like, I know, yeah. So I kept on. I was blaming him all the time. This what you get. That's what you got.
Yeah.
That's what you got. You're good. Yes, karma is karma, and you feeling it, and all of that. But then it took me a while to like mature and grow and get back to my baseline because I was so off of my baseline. I didn't know how to accept anything. But it took me time to get there. For me to see like, yeah, different things I could have probably did or different things I did do. Not to make him do that to me, but different things I did do too.
Yeah. I mean, I don't, and I feel like you do. If I'm remembering correctly, you do have this, but like, I know there's one particular person, this is a whole different person, that like, I am the story they tell new women. Like when they're dating new women, I am the like, she's the reason why I will never get married. She broke me and I cannot be healed. And when I found that out, it pissed me the fuck off because I'm like, did you give them the rest of the story?
Yeah.
Did you
Yeah.
tell them that you threatened to kill yourself every time I left? Did you tell them you held me emotionally hostage for like a year?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, did you add all the other plots to the story?
Yes.
And but like that really, really bothered me. And you know what bothered me the most about it is that like that was a situation where I felt I took a lot of the accountability for the things
Mm-hmm.
I did afterwards. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I took accountability, like, no, you're right. I could have handled so much better. I did do some things that were really immature. I did do some things that's hurtful, blah, blah, blah. But when I found out like the way they were presenting this thing, not to one woman, not to two women, like every woman after me, I was just kind of like, hold on, wait a minute, wait a minute. And I think what hurt me the most was because like I felt like afterwards I really tried to make a clean break and be like, hey, we just didn't work. We didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
And I really felt like I tried really hard to protect their image despite the bullshit they took me through. And to find out like, nah, you go around telling people like I'm the wicked witch of the West, like really hurt my feelings because I was like really trying to protect your image.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I think we try to protect it. Then we get to a certain point, it's just like, just tell them whatever you want to tell them at this point,
Look,
because it is what it is. We know it. Those people are, I don't know. They always have like that story, but it's like at one point, it's just like, just tell them whatever you said. What I am the bad person. It is what it is.
you know what? I was listening to Maya. It's like my favorite breakup song. She has a song off her first album called "If You Died, I Wouldn't Cry Because You Never Loved Me Anyway," and I love that song. A very particular person comes to mind whenever I hear that song. But, anyways, the very end of the song, she has a part that goes, "You can be struck by lightning, washed away by the sea. You can be burned in a fire. Just don't bring it back to me." And like that, yo, your face.
I've never heard this song. You said Maya?
Maya. The very end of the song, she said, you can get struck by lightning, washed away at the sea, burned in a fire. Just don't bring that shit back to me. And I definitely have that moment where you get to that, like, I don't even care what the fuck you say. Just don't bring that shit back to me. If it keeps you away from me, paint whatever story you gotta paint.
Yes. Yes. I have my same I have my same song.
What's
And
your
it's
song?
Chris and Michelle, Blame It On Me.
Okay.
It's like blame it on me, say it's my fault, said I left you outside in the cold with a broken heart. I don't
Mhm.
care.
Yeah.
You can blame it on me or whatever, just leave me alone. Just leave me
Yeah.
alone.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I played that when I had broke up with one of my boyfriends, and my mom was like, I knew you was going through a breakup because you kept playing that song and singing out loud.
You are very, it's always easy to tell when you're heartbroken. And if you are not the one that's like just suffering in silence. We all gonna know about it. We all gonna know about it.
I'm sad. I'm sad.
Oh,
My child like that too. I hurt. I hurt. I'm like, girl, don't cry. Now I know where she getting it from. I just had a
you are exactly
realization.
where she
This
gets
is
that
women.
from.
Girl, but yes.
Yeah, no, I think everybody has to have your song. You have to have your go-to. Like, yeah, no, no, no. But I was listening to that song earlier driving to work this morning, and I was like, yeah, fuck him. It's still fuck him. I don't care how long it's
Yes.
been. It's still
To
fuck
this
him.
day, right.
To this day. To this day.
Exactly.
Uh, but I do think like one of the things that sometimes can happen in these situations is, especially if you get to hear the other person's side or what the other person has been saying, it gets to the point where you're like, wait, am I not remembering this wrong? Like, am I gaslighting myself? I definitely had moments. Like, I know for a fact, I had one particular person who their version was so far from what happened that I was like, did I make this? Like, I had to check my stuff because it was two completely different things. It
Mhm.
was two completely different things. I had to just be like, either they're crazy or like, no, no, let me double check the facts because it almost felt like I was gaslighting myself when I was like hearing their version of the story.
Hmm. And it's like, we're in the same relationship.
Gosh.
But I always seem like, uh, uh, I'm not trying to go guys against girls, but like a lot of times I will hear the stories from the guys and then I'll be like, did it really happen like that?
My homeboys know that I'm not the person to talk to about their breakups because I'm like, I'm gonna poke some
Yeah.
holes. I'm gonna poke some holes. Like, so she just slapped you out of your sleep for nothing? For nothing? Okay.
Yeah, like what did you
What
do?
was in your phone?
Exactly. Why it always gotta be me? I'm just asking. I'm just asking. I'm just
Look,
asking.
look.
Yeah.
And I think it can be like really hard to like, it's very tempting to like villainize your ex to make
Mhm.
sense of the story, to make sense of like why it did not work. And I don't think that happens every time, but I think sometimes it's really hard to resist that when, especially walking away was really, really painful for you. But I do want to say though, I feel like if you're a person where every single person you walked away from is a horrible, heartbreaking story, that's also like a moment of reflection. Like, why are you a horrible breaker upper? Like, why is it
Mhm.
ever, you should have at least one situation where it's just like, yeah, yeah, it didn't work. They
Yeah.
tried.
And that's
Or
it.
even if it's they broke up, it's like, yeah, they didn't want to do it no more. I still love them, but it is what it is. But if every ex is that ex for you, then yeah, let's check the facts. Let's rewind the story.
Mhm. I agree. So, can you be honest about who you were without hating yourself? So, if you could think about maybe how you can grieve the version of you that was triggered, immature, avoidant, manipulative, checked out, or codependent. And one way to grieve it is to just reflect on it and
Mhm.
just see like the roles that you played in that situation and how you could change that in future situations, or just taking accountability for some of those things and just grieving like that was me at that point, but that's not who I am, or that was me at that point, but that's not who I want to continue to be, and just coming to terms with it and your feelings around it.
Yeah, I think taking accountability is a big part of it. It doesn't diminish what they did, but
No.
it allows you to see the picture more clearly. And sometimes seeing the picture more clearly, not seeing it with our pain, makes it easier to get over. It makes it easier to leave it there in the past and not carry that thing with us to every relationship we go into.
Mm.
I think also, and I think this kind of goes into accountability, but like also checking to see like where some of your perceptions of what happened are more blown up than what it really was. I know this is a thing that definitely happens, which is just that whole like, because I'm now seeing it through my pain, it is like, and he was yelling at me, and he wasn't understanding he wasn't trying to listen to me, and he was ignoring me. It was like, girl, he started an argument while he was in the middle of playing a game. Like, he wasn't actively trying to ignore you. He was like literally doing something else. And then you came in with this. And then you guys got in. And then you will do this, and that. Or for some people, like it can be a matter of, I'll use one for example, involving myself. My version of things were, I was not even trying to be serious anyway. And you pressured this thing into being really, really serious. So then I took that thing seriously. And then while you're doing all the stuff, you're still doing other shit. When I was very upfront and honest, like, if you want to do other shit. I'm not even trying to do that. But you really pursued me to try to make this thing very serious. You try to make this thing very like, no, this is what I want. Let's do these big steps. But you were also doing other things that contradict doing those big steps. That was my version. But their version of things was like, you left me, you abandoned me. I thought we were good. I thought we were locked in on this thing. And you didn't even allow me to get my say. You just left and didn't allow me to get my say. And technically, both of us are right. And I think for a long time after that particular person, all I saw was my side. And it was really hard for me to recognize, like, oh, but yeah, you didn't give them a chance to explain. You did not give them, you did kind of like just abandon them. You did kind of just like spend several months with this person and then just decide you mean nothing. And that can be painful for a person, regardless of what they're doing. If I think we're locked in and all of a sudden you are able to up and move on, like I meant nothing to you, that can be very, very painful. But for like a very, very long time, I could not see that side at all. For a very, very long time, I was like, because you deserve to be abandoned. I hope you get abandoned again. Like that's how I looked at it. And I had to do some reflection of like, okay, well, let's really look at what it was. Even with,
go ahead. Oh, go ahead. I think I have those moments too. I still feel like sometimes, but sometimes I would like a situation, I would like take a lot of energy, like take a lot of things and just sit there and be like prim and pretty and not like willing to like give back or show, but I'm like not being able to give back and not realizing that I'm just taking a lot and not giving back. And then I'm like, but you're not showing how you really feel. But in their head, I probably wasn't either because I wasn't.
Yeah.
It was. I mean, it's a communication block on both ends. But I know I could blame a lot. Like you wasting my time, you wasting my time. But then thinking back, I was like, I was really just taking up energy and taking up space because that person was making me feel good.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like a lot of reciprocation on my end. In some ways, ways I did too much, but other ways it's like I wasn't giving in that way. But for real, I still blame it on them. But I still take accountability in some ways. And I can see why they reacted the way they reacted just by getting to know them. And they want these things. And you know, how those some type of people don't really tell you what they want. They just sit there and act to like, well, you should know. And even if you should know. So you know who people are. So
one thing I could say is like me and Nique are not a person to get into a who could give a fuck less contest with.
Oh.
I'm still in a who could give a fuck less contest with somebody from 5 years ago. Like we're still actively playing this game.
First victim person. It's gonna come back. I said, what is going to come back with me? I made clear boundaries of I don't want to be with you and you don't want to accept it. So that's not going to come back to me. Like, I don't know why you're trying to make me like the victim. And if somebody told me that they didn't want to be with me, I can understand it. Like you said, I'm going to cry, but I'm not going to beg.
Look,
I'm not. I understand.
Not get into
I'm not changing. I'm not doing it.
Contest.
Okay. Even if I'm crying, saying okay.
But let me tell you, you try to get me in one of those contests. I better
Yeah.
ask that one boy that got like 15 text me now numbers. Keep finding ways. You're not gonna get on that. You're not gonna I
But
can't
yeah,
say that because yeah, yeah,
I still see my part, even if, yeah, I still see my part though. That's the
yeah.
point. Even if it's a minute little baby part, I still see it.
Right. It can be recognized.
Yes.
Um, and here's the thing about like recognizing that you can recognize I was wrong, but I still don't think I deserve what I got. Because sometimes, you did do something wrong, but it's like, dang, it doesn't feel fair for what you made me go through or what you made me deal with. And again, it's okay to recognize, okay, I need to be accountable for this. And you can still hold that ground, but like, I still didn't deserve what you did. One does not cancel out the other.
At yeah.
And I think even when we're going back to that, just recognizing when it's a matter of like, because sometimes as much as I hate to admit this, I think sometimes we hold on to the weight of a relationship because we miss it.
Hmm.
And that pain is all we still have left of it. And so it feels hard to let go of that pain because if I let go of that pain, that means like I'm really letting go of this forever. And that can be hard to recognize. That can be painful to recognize, especially if both of y'all keep it alive. Y'all keep fanning the flames a little bit. It can be hard, and it can also make you feel like, dang, was that even real? If I finally let go of this thing, does that mean that thing was real? Does it mean I really wasted all my time on that? Does it mean I really wasted all my tears on that? And all those things are still valid, and you're still able to walk away and let go. The
I
pain,
think
letting go of the pain does not invalidate what you went through.
that's always my thing, like the let go.
Mm-hmm.
Um, excuse me. I think it's more the dynamic or the dynamic of it or the comfortability of it. Even the hurt, like, so now that hurt don't matter. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, yeah,
and if I let it go, like all of this time, but if you foresee it, it's a fresh new start. And you won't have more pain added onto the old pain or
yeah,
more confusion added onto the new confusion. But just being okay with letting it go and saying that if anything, I have to tell myself it's a life lesson
yeah,
because I was feeling like since I did all of this stuff, something got to come out of this.
yeah,
Or now I'm pissed, and
yeah.
I try not to get pissed. So I
That sunken
out of
cost
it.
rhetoric.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, but then it's like just learn a lesson from it and grow.
Yeah.
But it's something I have to talk to myself about often. So I be
Well,
trying to figure out, why.
yeah. No, to be honest with you though, for a long time, like I did not understand this because you and Gabby both like to like figure out the why. And I used to not understand. And then I had like one particular person that really had me like, oh, my brain is like, no, I need to figure out why I had to go through. I had to figure out why I can't let this shit go. And before that, I was just like, I don't get it, y'all. It's over. There's so many other men. Like you can just, girl, he wasn't even that great. I can
Yeah,
introduce you to someone better. And then I did date somebody who like, yeah, it was hard for me to let go. And I do wonder sometimes, like, are you holding on to it at this point?
Mhm.
And not even that way. I think more so for me, the question I have with that particular situation, sometimes I wonder not if it's I'm holding on to not let go of the person, if I because sometimes it feels unfair for me to let them get off easy. And so I have to hold on to it. I have to still be angry. I have to still have this layered vote of fuck you. I have to still have this level of I gotta be an asshole towards you. I have to have this level of anger towards you because it's unfair for me to just let it go and let you get off scot free.
Mm.
And I feel like what you did does not deserve to get off scot free. And it sucks though, because you are hurting yourself with that. That person
Yeah.
might not even know. That person might be on they happy little flag, living their life.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And so they're getting off scot free, whether you want to but not acknowledge that or not. But you are letting them live rent free in your head. And the only person that's breaking down is you.
Mhm.
And even if it doesn't break you down, because I know this is again hard for me because I'm like, it doesn't break me down. Like I'm not crying over this person. I'm not blah blah blah. I just get randomly angry. Da 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 da. But it's like, but what is that doing? And is that seeping into the possibility of new people who really want to love you and love you right and do good to you? And as much as we want to be like, no, it's not. Is it though? Is it really not? Because if one small memory can trigger that anger, there's a possibility that while you out here trying to find new people that you get triggered again and now they are taking on the raft that was meant for a whole other person.
And then you cannot completely open up to that new person when you're trying to still forgive the last person.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's just hard. So it's like you just adding on to it. So you don't want them to have that piece of you when they're like they're not even thinking about it.
Yeah. And it's going back to even with like sometimes it can be memories that still haunt you. And it's like not because necessarily you want them back, but it's like, damn, I really wish I showed up differently in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes
Mm-hmm.
it's like, I wish I was more mature. Other times it's like, I wish I brought the unhealed version of me out. You know, I have one particular person that every time y'all ask me, like, oh, do you have one regret? And everybody else is like, I wish I went to this college. And I wish I pursued my dream of art. For me, it's like, I wish I did that man worse. That's my one regret. I hate that that man called me in my healing era. I hate that that man called me in my hair. I hate that my homegirl called me in the middle of me being like, oh yeah. I hate that she talked me out of a couple things. So it can be both ways. It can be, I wish I showed up in like a more mature, healthier way. I wish I handled that. I wish I communicated. But also sometimes it's like, I really wish I would have showed him like, I'm not one to mess with. I wish I would have been his karma. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and recognizing when that's really what it is. It's not necessarily I want the back. Sometimes it's I want revenge. Sometimes it is I want a chance to do it better. Sometimes it
Yeah.
is I am embarrassed when I think about how I reacted in that situation. And that's why my mind can't let go of it because damn, how did this person take me so out of my character?
Mm-hmm. And it's funny. You was like, I wish I would have went back and did this, this, and this. But me, I'm always like, I don't know. Is it because I'm too much accountability for myself?
Mhm.
I do blame them a lot, but sometimes I just say it's me. Like I was like, bro, I should have did this. I always say that sometimes. Like if I would
Yeah.
have did this and this and this, but actually it just wasn't meant for y'all to be. Or
Mhm.
if I would have acted this way, or if I would have did that, maybe they would have seen how I felt. But were they even trying to see it anyway? So it's like I have to like tell myself it happened how it happened. They got the person they got, and that's
Yeah.
what it is. And there's no fixing that.
Yeah. No, my mind does not work like that. At
Yeah,
no point in
I know.
time do I. Yeah.
I know.
At no point in time, I was like, maybe I should have communicated better. I'm like, nah,
Yeah.
you know. But no, you're right. You do that, and we have had
Yeah.
our conversations of like, no, you've
Uh-huh.
told them several times, and I understand why you
Yeah.
got a little bit mad. But
Really.
going back into the topic of healing and what closure can look like when nobody has really given the proper apology. Sometimes you're gonna have hurt, or again, they're gonna say you the villain, you feel like they the villain, and you never get that closure that you want. You never get that apology that you want. There is no way for y'all to have the conversation and come to agreeable or calm terms. And when that happens, I'm a big believer you gotta let that shit go.
Mm.
You already know I'm really not a fan of closure. I personally feel like a lot of, in my experience, I feel like people use closure to try to change your mind. It's never really about, well, what happened? And tell me, let me use this so I can get better. It's so I can say, hey, I don't like how you make me feel when you blah, blah, blah. Well, if I knew that I could make you feel better, I could da 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 da. Well, no, we tried this. Well, let me try again. That's how I'm not a fan of closure. I'm very
Mhm.
much okay with being like, oh, you don't want this? Cool. I don't want this. Or I don't want this. I don't need your opinion if you want this or not, because I decided I don't want this. And like, let's just go our separate ways.
Yeah.
Um, so, but I know for some people that's a thing. Like, no, I really, really want to know what your process was. And I understand that, but sometimes you're just not going to get it. And
Mhm.
you have to learn to be okay with that. Um,
Yeah.
in some ways you can do that is like one, you gotta learn how to self-soothe. There's gonna be times where you just don't feel heard. You don't feel like the person is gonna understand you, and that gets frustrating. Um, Matter of fact, I was talking to my brother earlier today about this because my brother, he's one of my favorite people in the whole world. I love him so very, very much. But he is definitely a person. Me and him were talking about this earlier today. He's a person that he wants you to understand his side. And he do not want to end
Mhm.
the conversation until he feels like you understand where he's coming from. And me and him were talking about this because he had like he was talking about a family member. He was like, we never have a conversation, but I'm gonna call them again. I was like, hey, this is why they're not answering. I was like, because they're like, I said my piece, and then you say your piece, but like you won't let go of your piece. And sometimes I
Yeah.
just want the piece to be letting go of. And he's like, no, because they got it. I was like, oh no, they don't. But they don't. They don't have to understand. And I know, like, for some people, it's like, okay, but that's what makes me feel better because I want you to
Mhm.
see where I'm coming from. I want you to see where I have all this anger. I want you to see blah, blah. And then that soothes me because at least now you know there was a reason. I wasn't just acting like this for no reason. But here's the thing there are some people like me, who are not going to give you the chance to get closure, who are just going to be like, that's for you and your therapist to figure out. That's
Yeah.
really not my problem.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have pushed me to the point I don't give a fuck about your questions.
Mhm.
And then at that point, now what? Stalking them isn't the correct answer. Um, but one thing you can do is learn to self-soothe. And that can look like meditation. That can look like having a conversation within yourself, especially when that thought come up. You know, we all have those moments. I had that moment earlier today. Not so much something like this, but just a thought of something I'm like embarrassed about. And I just had to like talk to myself and like, you know what? You did what you could do at that time. You did not know how to handle that situation. So you handle it how you handle it. And look, at least now we know better. And sometimes
Mhm.
you have to have that talk with yourself. So be like, you
Mhm.
know what? They might not ever understand it, but now at least let me understand it.
Yeah. And that's it. Yeah.
Mhm.
Or even like for me, it's journaling and then it's like getting it out and reflecting, or even
Mhm.
reflecting back like the growth or like, oh, I did do that at this point in my life. What was the cause of this? And it helps me like, it helps me to figure out some thoughts in my head instead of
Yeah.
having them running through my head all the time. So,
Yeah. I
especially if I
think,
can't say it to the person.
yeah. I really wish I could journal. I think journaling is such a good way to get things out because it also allows you to go back and see how far you came.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's one of the things I recommend all the time, and I say it's because it lets you track your growth, or it lets you
Mm-hmm.
track where you are stuck at. Like, damn, I was still talking about this way in March of 2023.
Yes. I
Okay,
love
yeah, I guess I am obsessed. Okay, I guess this is a big problem. It's such a good way because sometimes when you're just saying things or thinking in your head, you can gaslight yourself to be like, nah, I really wasn't thinking it like that. Or nah, it
mhm.
wasn't that bad. But when you have it in pen and paper, you can't argue with that.
No,
So
your true
that's
thoughts.
great.
Your true thoughts.
Yeah.
Like I have went back. Sometimes it like enlightens me because I have reached like the goals or the outcomes that I didn't even know I set for myself back then. But it's like, dang,
Yeah.
I did this, and this, or hey, I'm still struggling with this. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So, because I have found, I love like to find them and read through them and compare and contrast. Like,
Yeah.
it's yeah, it is, but I don't do it as much as I used to. But it definitely helped when it did. So.
Yeah, it's great tool. I can't do it. My parents didn't give me privacy. Used to break in my room and steal my journal and then ground me for several months
Yes.
because of it. And I'm still
Yeah.
traumatized. Now I don't feel safe putting my thoughts on paper.
Yeah,
Um,
it's for somebody to find them. That is true.
yeah, yeah. I got punishment.
Mhm.
I got grounded for like months one time because I was like, I had said something like, and I think they're being unfair and unreasonable, and this is why we don't feel safe telling them things. And then they went in my, I know y'all heard this story a million times, and that's because I'm still pissed at it. But then they went into my room and they looked through all my shit, found my journal, and then told me the Holy Spirit told them that they needed to find it and read in my journal.
Yeah, no.
And now me and the Holy Spirit got beef. So, so unfortunately, I cannot do writing thoughts. Like me and my therapist have tried to work through that, and we have just agreed that it's just not going to be for me. It's very
Mhm.
traumatizing. I still got to talk to this woman every day. If I don't want to resent her, I need to let that go. Uh, but no, I do think journaling can be a really good way. And I think another way is letting yourself be okay with the idea that sometimes lessons just come later. And sometimes that was the way you had to learn that. And it
Mhm.
sucks. Sometimes we feel like, why can't I be the person that can learn vicariously? Why can't I be the person that one person told me, hey, don't do that. That's a bad thing. I just listen. Well, I got to go through the stuff. And it sucks, especially if you are hard headed. And that's the only way you learn is by touching the fire. But again, sometimes it's just like, well, you had to learn that lesson. And so this was an opportunity to teach you. And you just got to take it as that. Sometimes we learn those lessons late, and that's okay.
I definitely was like, when I used to like learn lessons so hard, like, why do life lessons have to be so hard and crying? But then half the time it's because I'm hard headed, because I don't really take advice. But then
You
I've
do
been,
not.
I mean, like, why I had to learn it so hard? Maybe because you didn't want to take advice. But I think that just worked for me. That's the only way I could stop, because I was like, bro, no, I don't want that to happen again. But those life lessons be so hard and depressing. I'm
Yeah.
like, I didn't really want
Yeah.
to learn that, but I guess
Yeah.
I had to.
Yeah. Yeah. Or, you could like listen to your friends. You could like, when you ask them like what you should do and they give you like really sound advice, you could just like listen to it instead of
I,
rebel against it as if you are a 16-year-old teenage girl trying to prove daddy wrong. That's
I
also an
could, but if
option.
that's not what I want to do, I be like, that's not what. But sometimes I be wondering, like, if it's not what I want to do, or I'm just doing it because that's what they're telling me to do. So I'm still trying to figure that out. Like, I'm just trying to listen to my voice and what I want to do.
Where your voice be leading you, Nique? Where your voice be leading you? Did it be leading you to touch the fire after we say don't touch it? I
Yes,
feel
it
like you got
burns
a lot of
bad.
burns because you
I
like
have like
touching the fire.
3rd-degree burn, so not even like a little burn. It'd
Look,
be like hard, less than,
I,
yeah.
I told you, I have been trying to learn secretive ways to soft parent you without you knowing and detecting it. Just get
I
you, to
know,
just
like,
get you to up the mountain.
mhm. I know what you're trying to do right now.
No. Like, that does sound like that would be good or healthy for me. I'm gonna do the opposite. Oh gosh. Yeah.
So another thing is just to have like forgiveness without reunion, or closure without confirmation. This is another. This can be challenging for me, because sometimes when I have revelations, I do text the forget. I do text the
I know.
apology
I
sometimes.
know.
And there's no need, because then it opens up the door and all of that. And I think you can go back to journaling and write it out. Maybe
Mhm.
burn it. Maybe just write it out, tear it up, something just to get it out of your mind.
Mhm.
Because yeah, it doesn't have to be a reunion to do that. Even though some people just said thank you, and I really needed that apology from you. They had told me we didn't rekindle, but it doesn't always work that way, and it's just
Yeah.
like open up new doors that you're trying to shut, and it's just like, why revisit it?
Yeah. No, I'm always a big believer whenever someone comes to me and is like, okay, but should I send this text? And they ain't talked in like 6 months or a year. And I'm just always like, but are you ready for the possibility that this does not go the way you want? And
Hmm.
can we handle it if you don't? Because I think sometimes when we have revelations or we are like, oh, I want to really get that closure, whatever, and we're thinking, I'm like, and they can just tell me. They can just tell me because they didn't love me anymore and I can accept that and then I can move on. But then like they come and say some other shit. And now it's like, oh, I wasn't expecting that. Or maybe it's some hurtful things. And now your wound is deeper. You thinking I gonna say, I'm sorry,
Hmm.
you were right. Instead, they was just like, because I had already got your neighbor pregnant. And I didn't know. And now you're like, wait, the fuck? You're like, what do you mean? You can open up doors that aren't what you're expecting. And
Hmm.
so my big thing about that is always like, okay, but can you prepare yourself for the possibility this might not go the way you want it to go? And can you handle that?
Yeah.
And sometimes the answer is no. Sometimes it's just no, I really want this apology. Okay, but what happens if they're not going to give you that apology? They'll dig
Hmm.
their heels in. In fact, they're going to say it's your fault and this is why they did it. Can you mentally or emotionally handle that right now?
Maybe it's gonna, yeah, just strike up more hurt and pain. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Or and like you said, sometimes it's a matter of, you know what? Okay, we had this conversation and it was good. And that was kind of fun. And now he know he unblocked. And now it's opening a door for something that does not
That you
work.
got over, yeah. You
Yeah.
know it's
So
not
that
worth it.
we was almost there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And now you about to start this cycle for another year and a half.
Or more.
Yeah. And as we're talking about letting go, I think it's important to make sure you let go without rewriting the truth. And sometimes that means, again, holding that accountability part, holding that embarrassing part, but allowing that to be a part of the release as well. I'm a big believer that when you lie to yourself, you never really let it go.
Mhm.
And that's a part of that not taking accountability. So when you were like, he was horrible, I was perfect to him, he da 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 da. To me, that is not really letting go. And that is also now you wasted both of y'all time because you didn't even learn nothing from it.
Yeah.
You can let go without rewriting the truth. You can tell yourself the truth and it's still okay. It's still valid what you felt and what you went through. But now I can actually really release that thing.
Mhm.
But I'm a believer that accountability can coexist with self protection. And as another form of letting go, you can ask yourself, like, think about the last relationship that you had that didn't have a clear villain. What part of your behavior in that situation still lingers? Not so much as punishment, but as a compass. And once you realize what that thing is, ask yourself, what does that version of you need now? Does it need an apology? Does it need a plan to grow? Does it need to accept what it is? Ask yourself that. And once you figure out your answer, give that to yourself. You do not have to seek it out from the other person. Well, that is all we have today. We hope that you guys enjoyed. Like, follow, listen, share, do the stuff. Do the stuff.
Mhm.
Uh, and we will have a new episode. Hopefully, yeah, I don't know. I know the last two, probably by the time y'all get it, 3 episodes. It's just me being like, maybe we'll have episode next week, but I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. August is hectic for all 4 of us. It's
Yeah.
very, very hectic for all 4 of us. And we are trying. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see the type of energy that we have. But at some point, we'll have a new episode on a Sunday at some point in life. And so you should be on our watch out for that. Bye.